Are you like me and you love the convenience of ordering out, but between the inflated prices and tips and the less than healthy menu options, it really makes you think twice before ordering, right? Well, Gobble's here to help busy people like us enjoy healthier home cooking without the hassle. Instead of meal prepping and shopping, you just customize your weekly menu, get your delivery, and spend as little as 15 minutes to serve a delicious homemade dinner any night of the week. And this week, I made chicken fettuccine that was simply divine. And both Julie and I made it at the same time. I know we're so cute. And we could not stop raving about how delicious it was. It was so easy to whip up in less than 15 minutes, and everything I needed was already in the box. For our wonderful listeners, we have a special deal to help you get started for less. See what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering our listeners a fantastic limited time deal. Get $120 off across 4 boxes, plus free shipping and free cookies. The cookies are so good. Go to gobble.com/dateable podcast. That's GOBBLE.com/DATEABLE podcast today. This offer is not available on their home site, so don't miss out. Hi, I'm Yue Xu.
And I'm Julie Kraftchick.
We're active daters turned dating insiders.
Here to dive into everything modern dating and relationships.
Welcome to Dateable. Hello, friends. Welcome back to a brand new season of Brunch Talk, where we answer your burning dating questions.
Oh my God. I feel like we haven't done one of these in so long. I'm so just dying to get into it.
Are you deprived of dating questions?
I am. I go to brunch and I'm like, where are all the dating questions?
I feel like we have a bunch of questions that we've gathered during the off season. These are still burning questions, hopefully, and we'll try to answer as many as we can. Mm-hmm. But for those of you who've listened to these brunch talks, you know how it works. If you put a question in the body of your review on Apple Podcasts, we will then put your question to the front of the queue. And that's how we prioritize your question.
Yeah.
And get it answered fast.
And if you want to feel like you're actually eating brunch with us, we are putting these up on YouTube as the full recording.
Yeah.
So you can have us on your TV, you making your eggs and bacon. Feels like the best brunch, right?
Sounds like a lovely Sunday morning.
Definitely.
That sounds great. And we will never judge you for whatever you're cooking.
Yeah, we can't see you. You can only see us. You could have 5 brunches and we won't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Do your bottomless mimosas. We don't know.
No judgment zone over here.
You do you. But we are bringing these questions back again. These questions, we love getting the Brunch Talk questions because we know many of you are going through a lot of the same things. So hopefully when you hear your question answered, you'll know that there are thousands of other daters who are experiencing the same thing. You're never alone in what you experience.
Yes, we get a good one today.
All right. First question. Whew. This one I've asked myself multiple times when I was dating. How do you stay motivated to date when you could focus on all the gazillion things that are going on in your life?
Yes, it's definitely a good one. And then for further clarity here, we have, I'm a single parent and it's already hard to find time to date, but even harder to stay motivated when it feels like people only want to hook up and are not looking for anything serious. How do you keep dating a priority, especially when you need to juggle work, parenting, self-care, etc.?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I think about is you can't break out dating from the rest of your life. You can't just be like, I'm going to water this one plant and forget about everything else in my house. It's a holistic picture. And I think what gets a lot of daters burnt out, I think Julie and I both experience this, is when you become consumed by one thing. And if you're consumed by dating, that's all you're spending your energy on or your headspace in, then yeah, you're going to be burnt out and you're not going to be motivated.
Yeah, I think also it's really hard, easier said than done, but when you're so focused on, I just want to find a relationship, the end goal, right? It makes it hard when you're not finding people that meet that. So I can totally see why that's discouraging. And I think it's finding the little wins, like keeping motivated that way. It's really hard when just nothing seems to be moving in the right direction. But if you can say like, oh, well, at least I had an interesting date where I discovered X, Y, and Z about what I'm looking for, or I learned more about what, is important to me in a partner, even if it's not that person, the more you can see the value that's helping your overall well-being, not just like dating to find a relationship.
Yeah, right. Like, can we think about dating as more maintenance or an everyday activity that's embedded in your life? I think about walking because I do love walking, but on walks, I've never had a bad walk because I'm like,
Yeah.
yay, I'm out here walking. I'm doing the thing I love to do. Can we think about dating similarly? It's like, oh, I'm out here dating. Yeah, sometimes there's no romantic chemistry or like someone ghosts or someone does something stupid, but it's like the same thing when you go on a walk. Yeah, there's like a rock in the middle of the road and you have to kick it off, or there's a street that's closed that's usually
Yeah. Bad route.
open. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you just go, detour. Okay. But I still got to walk today, maybe.
I think that's a good way to look at it. But I think it makes it easier if you have, somewhere that you want to go to, I think, like that you can couple like dating up with. Like, I think that's what I was thinking of when you were talking about the walk. It's like, well, if I know especially if you have limited time, if you're like, I really want to check out this museum, or I really want to check out like this restaurant or this wine bar, if you make that like part of it, then at least you got to do that. At least it wasn't like a total waste of time.
Yeah.
You're kind of like killing two birds with one stone.
But yeah, like don't make it just a silo date. It's like, this is just purely for dating. Well, think about like how you can combine your interests and what gets you excited. And people come alive when they are doing something they are really interested in doing, or they're in an environment that allows for that to happen. But see, on the flip side is if you're in the middle of a date or if you're dating and you're consumed by your to-do list, your work, your kids, your house, then you're also bringing the energy from the other facets of life into dating. And that also burns people out because guess what? The person you're on a date with feels that energy too.
I think for busy people, and this, of course, parents fall under here, but I think even non-parents, I remember like, when I was working full time running Dateable, I felt like I had like 5 jobs, right?
Yeah.
I was like, it's a lot going on. And when I was dating, I definitely filtered more. I went on less dates because I knew that I wanted each date to count a little more. And I think it's important because one, it doesn't burn you out when you're just like, part of the reason I think like there's so much burnout that happens is just the volume it's happening at.
Yeah.
It's like if you got ghosted once, you'd be like, okay, whatever. But if it happens like 5 times in a week, you're just like so drained by it. And if you go on one bad date, okay, not a big deal. But when it keeps happening over and over again, it becomes depressing. So I think doing a little less, but, building up each one more, because I think, again, it comes back to how are you showing up on this date? And if you're excited to meet the person because you've built some rapport first, I'm not talking about like talking on text for 2 weeks prior dating.
Right. Don't do that.
But I mean like maybe like have like a phone call first or something just to be like, okay, can I hold a conversation with this person?
Yes.
You don't need to be in love with them on the phone call, but at least you go in being like, oh, I'm excited to talk to them more.
Yeah.
Learn something new, meet a new friend if it's not romantic, but it's not as much of like a waste of time if it's just a total bomb.
Yeah, I think we skip that stage quite a bit because we think dating is a numbers game. We want to just pile on the dates because you never know who's going to be right around the corner. The problem with that is that everything bleeds into each other, and then all the energy, your depleted energy bleeds into the next person you go on a date with. And guess what? They're also probably doing the same thing. So then everybody just has like bad or low energy when they get on dates. I realize for me, this is with everything in life, not just dating. I need a ramp up and a cool down to these productions, like social gatherings. I need at least 30 minutes beforehand to just wipe off the day and reset button and do a little meditation, breathing. And then after the event, I need like this longer cool down period, probably an hour, where I just need to be alone. I don't want to talk. I just want to be with my thoughts. And Mojo, I just want to pet him for an hour. I think knowing that about yourself can probably make dating more enjoyable because at least least you know you're setting yourself up for the best version of you when you get on the date.
I agree. And I think the vetting, like especially this person saying that it feels like people only want to hook up.
Yeah.
There's a lot, like, of course, you can never fully know someone's intentions before going on a date or even a few dates in, but you can definitely gauge like what they're looking for overall, like if they're purely there for hookup only. And I think at that point, you don't waste your time. Like if you know that isn't what you want, it's how do you find out a little more information up front? Like I think we're so afraid to scare people away by asking questions, but ultimately this is helping everyone. Let those people find each other. Let you find a fellow single parent that understands what it's like, or even if they're not a single parent, someone that's like wants to like be in there with you and build a life.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes dating is so much about experimenting with what you invite in and why
Yes.
you're inviting that in. Because the hookup culture thing, I think what's a good question to ask yourself is, am I inviting that in? Like, am I inviting in riffraff? I remember there was a period in my life in my late 20s where I was inviting in the riffraff and then complaining about it. Like, why is it nobody serious? And why does everybody just want to hook up? And why is everybody so casual? I realize I'm not saying that, you know, you can't be authentic to who you are, but sometimes you invite it in. I was inviting it in because I was like, oh, I'm going to be the cool girl. I'm going to be okay with last minute plans, be okay with last minute cancellations, be okay with late night meetups.
Yep.
And then I step back and be like, oh shit, I invited that riffraff in. I don't want to do that. And it comes through in the way you speak to someone, how you articulate yourself to someone. I think that people looking for riffraff, they can identify that. And if you're not that, they kind of move on.
100%. I can so relate to all of that. I want to get into like a few more tactical things too. But before we do, let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsor.
I love my shower time. See, I'm an evening showerer because I like to wash off the day before I hop into bed. And now with Osea's new Ondaria algae body wash, my shower routine has turned into a tropical paradise with its iconic all-natural uplifting citrusy scent. This body wash infuses your shower with the healing power of the sea, formulated with nourishing, nutrient-rich Ondaria seaweed, glycerin, and an oil blend. Also, its pH balance, hydrating formula doesn't strip skin, leaving it feeling soft and renewed. I'm personally a big fan of the gel-like texture. It just feels really nice in my hands, and it's beautiful, rich lather. And the all-natural citrusy scent that smells so vibrant. You just feel like you just went, I don't know, surfing? Even I don't surf at all. It leaves my skin feeling so wonderful, and can I just even say glamorous? Upgrade your shower with clean, vegan face and body care from Osea. Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code DATEABLE at OseaMalibu.com. You'll get free samples with every order and free shipping on orders over $60. Head to OSEAMalibu.com and use the code DATEABLE for 10% off.
We're officially entering fall, and I don't know about you, but this is by far my favorite season. Between pumpkin spice lattes and sweater weather, it's the best. And Quince makes it easy to shift my wardrobe from summer to fall with high-quality items that don't blow my budget. I'm obsessed with the tan cashmere sweater I got from them. It's one of their signature items. It's just so soft and luxurious. And $50. That's unheard of for cashmere. And the quality is to the same level of luxury brands that cost a heck lot more. All Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. And that's because Quince partners directly with top factories, cutting out the cost to the middleman and passes the savings on to us. Make switching season a breeze with Quince's high-quality closet essentials. Go to quince.com/dateable for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dateable to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dateable. Another thing I was thinking about too, when you're time constrained and like making dating overtake your life. For me, one of the best things I did the last round of dating was to, one, remove notifications off my phone.
Yes.
So I wasn't pulled in all the time. It was done on my terms, not dating interrupting my life. And having a distinct day that I really focused on apps, and that was Sunday evening. And I'm sure everyone has that time in their day. Even if you are the busiest freaking person on this planet, you have a half an hour, right? That's like downtime. And if you just build it into your schedule, I really think like devoting the half an hour opposed to multitasking throughout the week, it actually saves you time. And I think this is true not just with dating, but like everything in life. Like it feels like, oh, well, I don't want to devote a half hour to an hour to this. I don't have that time. But every like 2 seconds you're doing things like throughout, it actually equates to way more time.
Yes, because it's intentional, focused time.
Yeah.
You are spending all of your energy, and the universe is like, yes, all this energy is on this one thing now. It's on dating, but you can't go for too long with that because then you will run out of gas. So having 30 minutes is probably great for Julie, and maybe for those of you who are listening, you have to experiment a little bit. I think, sometimes for you it's like an hour, or sometimes for you it's like 10 minutes. Experiment a little bit with that. But something we talk about in our new book, How to Be Dateable, coming out in January 2025.
We're pointing on YouTube.
Just in case you didn't know, we have a book coming out with Simon & Schuster, January of 2025. We have an entire chapter devoted to investment strategies when it comes to dating, because you have to know what you're doing that's moving the needle, and then stopping the things that are no longer moving the needle. I know for me,
it's just
when
draining.
I'm swiping or whatever, 15 minutes is all I can give. Even a minute more, not only am I not going to find more matches or my person or better person, I know that one extra minute will actually drain 5 minutes out of me.
Yeah.
So let's figure that out.
That's really important to know.
Right? Like what is moving the needle? And then the shit that's setting you back, stop doing it. Don't invest any more time into that.
And I think if you are busy, I mean, here's a secret. Apps, the biggest day is Sunday. Like you might as well be in there when people are actually on their phones.
Right.
Because what happens if you're doing it on days that they're not, you message them, it goes to a black hole, never to be found again. Or they'll respond and then 5 days will go by and then you'll respond. It just goes nowhere.
Yep.
So if you're there on Sunday, it's you message them, they message you, have a few back and forth, and then just be like, hey, like I really want to talk further. Like, would you be down to do a phone call on X date this week? Then you finish. You do not have to make small talk with this person you don't know for hours, but you have something in the books, and then you can go from there and have an actual date if it feels right.
Yeah. You're in the driver's seat. You're the one saying, this is how I like to communicate. I want to get to know you better. Let's take it off the apps or onto a different platform.
Yeah.
Instead of what most daters do is wait for the other person to lead in communication. And think about it. If everybody's just waiting for the other person to lead, of course you're going to get into a fucking texting black hole because everyone's just like, I don't know, they haven't said anything this week. I don't know what's going on with them right now. Take the lead. You are the one in control. And if you don't get an answer back or a text back, then that's your answer. Like, move on.
Right.
That person did not move the needle.
Maybe being busy is actually a superpower for you, something that you could use to your advantage of not to waste time doing things that don't matter and to really just like, focus. There's like a book that's like a business book that's like the one thing. Like, what is the one thing you need to do? Like, how can you do that? And like the whole thing is like, we spend all this time on all these little things. We don't focus on the most important aspect. Like for dating, it's the same thing. Like, how do you just focus your attention to what moves the needle and who is aligned with your needs and your goals and what you want out of life, and let the other people go if they're not.
Right. Yeah. So how do you balance that? Okay. If you don't know what's moving the needle and you can't identify it, what are some ways people can experiment with that in dating?
I mean, I think it's trying different techniques. I mean, let's say if you're using apps to meet people or you're trying to meet people in real life, there's so many resources on this podcast alone, yet alone other podcasts. So highly encourage you to, just go to our back catalog. We can link a few episodes here too. But I would date like a scientist, experiment, or date like a podcaster. You can pretend that you're one of us and test it out. But just like try things. And then what I would look at is like, do I feel energized by doing this? Do I see some sort of results? It doesn't need to be like my end goal of finding the one, but do I feel like it's doing something for me that's pushing me a little further in my journey, whether that's discovery or having a good conversation or something, and then do more of that. I really encourage people to just find one app. They don't need to be on every app. Just find one app that you don't hate being on and use that more consistently.
Right.
I think that is a good step. And then you could experiment. Which app is it for me? I'm going to test it out. And then you can start to see like what drains you and what energizes you. And I think that's a really good indication.
Totally. Give yourself an R&D period. Like say for the next 3 weeks, I'm just going to experiment. I'm going to try going on dates for coffee, going on dates after work, going on dates on weekends. I want to see which kind of date am I most energized on.
Yeah.
I also want to see like, okay, some days I want to be off the apps. I want to meet people in real life. When do I feel the most social? When do I feel the most approachable? Is it like right before going to work? Is it during my midday walk? Is it like going for my morning coffee? Just start experimenting, and who knows? It's a lot of trial and error, but you're going to learn so much about yourself in these 3 weeks so that you know exactly what is going to drain you and what's going to energize you. And ultimately, everything we do in life is about energy, right? So let's use it in a way that benefits us.
I actually think we're so focused on time, but it's really energy.
It's so much energy.
Yeah, like if something feels draining to you, even if it's for 15 minutes, that's going to pull your battery down, right? But you could be doing, if you are so energized and so happy, like time just flies by. So I would definitely look at energy. And I love what you were saying too about like testing out days of the week, time of the week, you know, different times that you do different dating activities, whether it's going on dates, talking to new people, going to social events, like whatever it may be, it's all a testing phase. And then I know this sounds like a little formulaic and like it might not be for everyone, but for me, it was super helpful just having like Sunday is my day for apps and Wednesday is going to be my day to go on dates or to do a video call if I don't have a date lined up. I had it in my schedule.
That's lovely.
Right.
And then when you have something like that built into your week, you have something to look forward to, not something to be surprised by, which is what most daters do. Like, I don't know if I have any dates lined up. I don't know if someone's going to, I don't know if I'm going to text someone. I don't know. This way, if you have it built into a system, you're like, okay, Sundays, I'm looking forward to swiping because I don't get to do that every day. And then Wednesdays, I get to look forward to some connection time with someone new because I don't get to do that every day.
Yeah. And if you don't have someone lined up on the Wednesday, that could be going out to an event or doing something social. That's just like your day to meet someone. I think that's what it is, like a meeting time, connection. And I think the biggest other thing too is I never went on dates on Fridays. Like I reserved that for friends because I wanted to know that no matter what happened all week, I would have connection in my life.
Yes, I love
Even
that.
if I went on a terrible date on Wednesday, I knew Friday would be good. And I think that's important, especially if you have a lot of other things in your life.
You know what's funny? I feel like maybe everyone, this is just a theory, has a triggering day in a week for them.
Yeah.
And Friday is a big one for a lot of people. I think there's nothing worse than being on a bad date on a Friday night
100%.
while out seeing other people on good dates. And you're like, fuck, I just wasted a Friday night. So yeah, getting ahead of that and saying, okay, Friday night triggers me and I'm going to spend it with the people I love anyway. That's, I'm getting ahead of it. And then if you know, like, I don't know, being out on a Tuesday or Wednesday doesn't really affect you in either way. That's a perfect day to date.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully this helps the listener and the many other people that I'm sure are experiencing this. This is a very common question and it's so easy to get discouraged if you're not getting the results that you want. So try reframing results and then also date like a podcaster.
Yeah.
Test things out.
Thanks for that first inaugural question of our new season of Brunch Talk. And again, you can get your questions in there are many ways. hello@dateablepodcast.com is our email. That's one way.
Yes.
Second way is DMing us on Instagram @dateablepodcast is a username. Third way preferred way is to go on Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review, 5 stars, please. And in the body of your review, ask the question there. Okay, but we're going to add a fourth way. In the body of your review, if you say you pre-ordered our book, we'll bump you to the top. You get to skip even the shortest line.
Oh my God.
Okay?
Love it. Love it.
There you go.
Yes. And make sure to pre-order by going to howtobedateable.com. How to Be Dateable is our upcoming book. And like we've said, pre-orders go such a long way and it'll bump your questions up. So win, win, win.
So many wins. All right. We'll see you all next week for another Brunch Talk.
Bye. Before you leave this episode, just a reminder to head over to dateablepodcast.com/programs if you want to get in on our Meeting People IRL Masterclass and see what else we have in store.